Hey, welcome back to Burntwood Workshop. And I'm pretty excited right now. I've got over 1,000 subscribers, so things are finally moving after a year of doing this. Today we're going to cover AI generation, mainly because the video I was going to do turned into a fiasco, and it's going to be next week's video. I've got about a week into this, and I keep modifying things and not liking it, and doing it again, and it takes a lot of time and material. So that's going to be next week. I'll give you a hint of that at the end. But today we're going to go over AI generation in Atom, or XTool's program, Atom. And the used to be Design Find, they changed it, and things have changed around. We're going to go over that a little bit, show some of the things you could do. Somebody asked about what I use for prompts and stuff, and how I get the images I get. So we're going to go over that today, and I'm just going to show you real quick a couple of things I did. This whole dice tower was done through AI generation on Atom. That's one. This was done through AI generation, and I think I'm flashing my camera with sunlight, which is probably not working real well. And this was also done with AI generation through Atom. This one is available. I made this one available on there, so you can download it, and I will probably make more of these available as I go. But we're going to go into the programming part now. So just to give an example, what I did here was I did a blue dragon in a torchlit cave surrounded by skulls. And this is what I came up with. And what I did that in was, if you go into embossment and you scroll through, you can find where it says steampunk. And when you pick steampunk, that'll give you that style of generation. So that's one of the images I came up with. So basically it would be this here. And I've got a few more, and I'll show those, and then we're going to go through and we're going to do some prompts and show you how to come up with some different things for wood engraving, images, and some different stuff. So this is one I did with I'm doing some gaming stuff. So I wanted some gnomes playing a dice game with a windmill and the full moon in the background. So you want to make sure you describe everything. And I want it with a blue hue. So I say, like a bluish background. Now, one thing you'll notice in AI generation is it doesn't do dice very well. Because as you can see, you've got two twos on this dice. You've got a 4 with a 3 and a 1 instead of a 4. You end up with some bizarre dice. You got to watch some of that stuff if you're fussy about it. But dice tend to be weird. And this is another one I did, and I wanted a dragon and in a timber frame house. So that was one. This was a dragon on top of a mountain, and random dice in the picture. I'm doing a lot of gaming stuff. So, and then this is the one they have with a smoke effect. I'll see if I can find that. But this was an AI generation that was, whatever you said, it put a smoke effect to it. And I thought that was pretty cool. And this was another gaming one with the wizard and the dragon. And I thought that with an observatory, I thought that looked pretty cool. So these are some of the things I've done. And we'll do a few on here and show you some of the different things you can come up with. Okay, so just to start this off right. So when you go into Atom, and we want to go into AI Make, we're going to go into AI Make. And then what we're going to do is you can go through and you can go 3D and inner engraving, which some of the stuff has changed. It used to be just 3D engraving. Now it's inner engraving. We'll go through some of these. But the embossment was the one that I used a bunch of. And the only thing I didn't like was that it put a ring around everything. So what we could do is, say we take this high relief one and put in a prompt of a full moon with a fairy on a mushroom, not in the room. New keyboard, we get used to it. Okay, so we're just going to put full moon with a fairy on a mushroom in the woods, and let's see what we get. Now, some of these come out in color with a full color image. Some of them will come out looking like just an engraving with highs and lows. So, and this is, we're going to do a real time how long this takes, just to show you how long these take. And then some of them take a long time. Some of them are fairly quick. As you can see right here, this gives you a percentage. So we're at 95% right now. Almost there. But almost there doesn't always mean almost there, because sometimes it'll sit at 99 for a while. Okay, so this is what we ended up with. And that would probably engrave pretty cool. Maybe what we'll do is we'll save that and we'll engrave it and see what it looks like. All right, that's the plan. We'll do that. All right, so we'll save that one and we'll go and we'll do another one and see what we get. All right, on this one, we're going to do coat of arms. And coat of arms is a whole nother type. And those come out pretty, and I'll show a couple of those too. I've done a few of those. I don't see the smoke one. I'd like to find that. That was pretty cool. 3D engraving, realistic, North Pole, Haunted House. Oh, now here's some of the ones. No, that's not it. All right, so we're going to have to go back. They want to send you, I would like to be able to search for what you want in here and not have it search everywhere, because I don't want what other people want. I want to design my own stuff. They want you to just download stuff. I would prefer to basically design my own stuff. And granted, it's AI, so they're designing it, but I want my ideas on there, not doing something somebody else did. So save embossment. We're going to go coat of arms, and we will do, I've done this one before. Let's see if it comes up the same. So there we go. Let's see what we get here. Now, as you can see, you get your points here, and we're going to real time show this. And it's not, it actually seems to be going faster than it did before. It used to take a little bit. When I started doing this, when they first came out with this, it took a while, but it is getting faster, probably because more people have put input in. Okay, so this is your embossment, what you would end up with. And that's kind of cute. The dragon's a little small, but it is pretty cute. Now you could try rerunning this and changing it with a large dragon. So, and this is what you got to do. But sometimes, like I was doing one where somebody wanted something to do with angels and demons, and I wanted an angel and a demon in battle, and it kept putting horns on the angel. So basically, I said an angel and a demon fighting with an angel without horns. So the next one it generated put 2 sets of horns on the angel. So sometimes it can basically thumb its nose at you and tell you, I'm going to give you what I think you want, not what you actually want. So just a thought, watch what you're getting. You have to do some tries, and you may have to basically dump some things and start over. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see if it'll redo it with a larger dragon. Okay, let's see. Now, if that does it, that'll be a little better than what we had before. Let's see what it does. Move that over. And the funny thing is, a lot of this stuff, I keep a lot of these just because, now that is better. I like that trick. It blocks the cabin a little bit more, but it is better. I mean, it's a bigger dragon. They're playing a game, and there's a little cabin in the background. It's interesting. But these are some of the things you can do with this, and it's a pretty handy tool. I mean, you've got. Well, then we're back to. All right, so And I do a lot of 3D engraving. So let's see here. I have one of the ones that I paint is a hummingbird. So let's see what we get with a hummingbird. Okay, now, like I said, this makes it in a round border. So if you don't want the round border, you may have to try a different engraving setup. All right. Spiral wood. Let's do the same thing in that and see what we get. Okay, so this is what we generated. This would be kind of interesting to engrave, but it is kind of cool. I would like a little more fill in the background. So what we might want to do is basically say, add some trees and mountains in the background. All right, and then we're going to see what we get there. Okay, so basically it regenerated the exact same image. So if you don't like these, you could just hit dislike. Delete conversion and refund partial credit. This will refund 8 credits, so we're going to confirm that. Please briefly describe why this didn't meet your expectations. It didn't change the image at all. Confirm. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that because we don't want to pay for something we're never going to use. I'm never going to use that. So that's how that works. And I haven't tried the marble sculpture, but what we're more interested in for what I do is the steampunk or the high relief engraving. And then we have colorful printing, which is something else I do for my sublimation, but it's kind of odd choices for it. And I'm wondering if you have to put an image in, or I guess, okay, so you can upload 4 images for it to combine to make something. Now that could be interesting. That'd be something you might try too eventually. But that's not what we're doing here. So basically what used to be engraving is now embossment. I don't know what the iridescent engraving looks like. Let's do... All right, I don't really know what I would use that for. I guess if you wanted to sublimate something, that might be kind of cool for a sublimation image. It's kind of Tron looking. I'm not sure what I'd really use that for. But what we'll do is we'll save some of these and we'll try some stuff with them. But some of them I don't really care for. That isn't as detailed as some of the ones I have. So I'm going to go over a couple last things and we'll finish up here. On this one here, I don't really like how this engraving came out. The other one gives you the ring around it, and I'm going to do a little more research on that. But on this one, just to give you a ballpark of what I did, I started out at 55-100 at 160 lines per centimeter. And I tried again at 55-150, 60-150, 6200, and 6250. Now these are my go-to numbers that usually work really well, and it didn't really come out very good. So then I tried it again with my plywood settings, and that came out even worse. So then I tried it on my layered paint, and that may have been the best result I had so far. So I'll show those, and then we're going to go over one more thing. So one more thing I tried was I do a flaming skeleton playing an electric guitar, and it added this banner. And I didn't like the banner, so I said, well, can I change the name on it? So where it asks you to, down the lower part where you can enter a prompt, I just said change it to Rock God. And as you can see, that changed that really well. So that's some of the stuff you could do with this AI generation. And I'll show you a couple things I did, and then we're going to wrap this up. Stop! So I hope this video helped on give you some ideas on how to do the AI generation. And just to show you a quick, that hummingbird one, here it is. I did it on a piece of pine. And what I do with the ones on pine is I usually paint them. So what I might do is I'll paint that and I'll show that in another video. And then this is just what I did. I just did it on a piece of plywood. And maybe I'll do these in a layered paint engraving too. That would be kind of cool. So that's another idea. So I ran the fairy on the mushroom on my normal settings, and I don't really like how that came out. It didn't come out great, and I tried a bunch of different settings. So then I tried it on my normal. Oops. I did the hummingbird on one side, and I did that on the other side with the same settings. And as you can see, that did not come out very good. So just for the heck of it, just to see what would happen, I tried it on my layered paint engraving. And I actually think that came out pretty good. With some tweaking, I think that would work really nice. So there are different applications for some of these engravings that might work really well for these, for the layered paint. So there's a lot of options. They give you way too many options sometimes. But just as a little thing, that's the hummingbird one I generated, and I painted that up real quick, just for the fun of it while I was waiting for the laser to run. And if you'd like to support an old man trying to get retired, you can send a super thanks. I'd appreciate it. And it also pays for all the money I spend on materials and time, which I'd appreciate very much. And I will, if you would be interested in me doing another video on painting, I could do one of those. Leave me a comment. I have a lot of different techniques on painting that I use, and I can do a whole video on that if you'd like. This was one of the ones I did. I did a few of these in the embossment for dice towers. I didn't care quite for how they came out, and I needed more dialing in. But this was basically a pile of skulls I AI generated, if you could see that. And then this was another one with a gnome. You can see that. And what I'm working on now is, this is going to be my next video. I'm working on this Gothic window, and I'm going to have a sublimated image in the window. I'm making the window larger than the laser bed. So I'm going to show how to make something that is actually bigger than you can make in the laser. And that's going to be the next video. So stay tuned. And if you like the video, give a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. If you'd like to see me do a video on something else or redo something, a little more information on something, I'd be glad to do it. And I'll see you in the next video.